Welcome everyone back to the Resilient Minds podcast. I'm excited to be here with Farah, who we haven't had the pleasure of connecting on our podcast since like 3 years ago when I was in Ibiza, and it's been such a long time. So Farah, it's amazing to
Just came
welcome you
out
back.
of a ayahuasca session.
I did or you did?
You did.
I mean, I think my life has been an ayahuasca session, so it's
Same.
been pretty. But it's good to see you. Tell, if you don't mind, a little bit about the magic that you're creating with I Ascend. How you've been really diving deep with healing and support and Reiki in the community. I'd love for anybody that is new to you or anybody that's listening, just to get a little bit more of a deeper understanding from your perspective.
So I have been teaching Reiki. So I'm a Reiki master, Reiki teacher, but also been working on our startup, iAscend, which is about investing in human potential and using the AI and the upcoming technology as a tool, and that creating balance with Gaia tech and Gaia kind of working harmoniously together and not against each other, which is the polarity that we're seeing in the world. And we are in test phase right now, so it's an exciting time. I think the app is timely. We've been working on it for a long time, always wondering why it's not happening right now, but now we know that it's on divine time. So we're grateful for that. And, a lot of like the work that I do is about bringing people back to source, which can be nature, which can be the divine source, from within, and knowing that there is something bigger out there that is taking care of all of us and wanting us to be the best versions of ourselves and be at our highest potential, and not what the world has been telling us all this time. And it's a big unlearning, and I love that I get to be a part of that.
We're so blessed, and I'm so blessed to be on this planet with you at this time.
Yeah.
It's amazing to really be here, connected deeply, and I really want to acknowledge the work that you're doing and that have been doing with full commitment and devotion and dedication, because I think this is something that, uh, from my hallucination when I was a little boy, I always was following, and it's interesting to see others also following that inner journey, that inner heart. And speaking of younger boy and youth, I want to really welcome our amazing youth leaders, Mei Jing and Shaw Moreno to the podcast. Mei Jing, if you can start off by sharing a little bit about yourself and what you're up to in the world. It'd be a great to kind of get a little bit of insight for anybody that doesn't know or hasn't heard of what you're up to or who you are.
Sure, thank you. So grateful to be here with such beautiful souls like Eric, Farah, and Shah. You guys are really paving the path for
Farah.
Farah, for Farah and Eric and Shah that are here. It's such powerful beings, and the more we are together, the stronger we are. So it just gets me super excited. I'm Beijing. I am a world citizen, so I'm a little bit of a lot of cultures together. Or come from a migrant family, so Chinese, Mexican, American, and yeah. So I'm a student of life. That's really my trade. If you ask me what do you do, I'm a student of life. I love to learn and grow, and really the mission of everything is giving back and being a light for humanity, and especially the youth, which are our future. I really got sparked to start creating this movement and paving this path for youth by just traveling to India and living with monks and really understanding what selfless action looks like, and what the nurturing and the richness of what it gives you by giving back, and how we are here not for ourselves but for really humanity. And one of my goal is to leave this world better than I found it. And the movement that we're building with the youth is really to create young leaders that are not only compassionate and conscious of their actions, but are also creating initiatives that are better or that are in the betterment of humanity, the world, the earth, nature. So all the festivals, the workshops, everything that we do is among nature, and the wisdom that we give is indigenous wisdom, ancient wisdom. So we bring a bunch of different beautiful minds together to really share and give that space in that space to give to the youth different aspects of wisdom, right? So it's a beautiful, it becomes a really beautiful like book of life where we're grabbing different aspects of wisdom, because there's not one right answer, there's many. So we really want to create that space for people to find their own truth. So I'm excited to be here and ask questions to you guys and really dive deeper through curiosity and learn more. So I'm happy to be
Beautiful.
here.
I love it. And Shaw, brother, you're also the other half of this beautiful co-creation. So would love for you to really share a little bit about yourself and your insight and just so anybody that doesn't know you can know a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm super happy to be here with you all as well. It's a big blessing, and yeah, I just feel it so much right now. It's like so amazing. Yeah, I'm 20. I'm originally from Santa Barbara, and now I'm up in the Bay Area. And I met Mei Jing, like she said, at ACOM University last year. I had just, lived a pretty normal life previous to that, just gone through my day to day, and then I decided I wanted something different. I wanted to seek something different. I found a passion for seeking something inside of me that wasn't just going on automatic. So I went there and I started to learn a lot more about myself and started to feel like I needed to give it back to the other youth because I knew where I had come from and where I had been at, and I didn't feel like it was right to leave it at that for everybody else with what I had learned, and I'm still learning. But from where I had gotten, I really wanted to give back, and so that led Meijing and I to just start creating. We ended up creating the Youth Leadership Festival, and we're really focused on helping create those young compassionate leaders and helping those guide with their hearts, helping youth guide with their hearts and lead with the certainty and compassion and clarity. So I'm really excited to be bringing that forward. Thank you for this space, Eric, and everybody.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. So I wanted to get curious deeper in terms because we're here with youth, Farah, and Farah, sorry, I apologize. I apologize. I apologize. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I am going to catch myself now. So, Farah, I'd love for us to get a little bit deeper in terms of your thoughts because I know you've been really deep into the space, and we've been really doing our own journeys in our own ways, and we've talked, multiple times, in the podcast, 3 years ago, and then now, what do you see, or what has been cultivating from your perspective over these last few years in terms of developing the youth and seeing these youth leaders come to life so that there is a more compassionate leadership role, but also the education side, with what you're doing with ISN, how you're serving and really developing in that capacity. What are your learnings, and what do you hope to continue to see moving forward?
It's a lot of learnings since 3 years. I mean, when you say 3 years, it feels like it's been decades since we had that conversation. But I do remember a lot of the conversation was about grounding vision. And that was probably the big part of it. And about really believing in the vision that you see for yourself and knowing that it's not just for you in the end, that it's actually for everyone. And that's the path. I think that's the work, is that we think that it's us, it's coming from our ego, that this is my vision, and what it really is like it's just coming through us, and we have a collective vision that we all contribute to. So when it comes to youth, I mean, I have a 15-year-old son, and I think that a lot of the youth are stepping into their dharma very early now. That's what I'm seeing, is they're stepping really into their purpose early, like not later like us. But that's just how the generations work. Like the babies being born now are completely wired differently than the babies that were born a year ago, even. And so everybody is teaching everybody towards this collective vision. I feel that it's hard for youth right now because they're still part of a very old consciousness structure that they're seeing kind of falling apart. But I think that they also are astrologically designed, like this Pluto and Scorpio generation, like they're astrologically also designed to be a part of a great change. And I feel like the younger, I mean, the younger the youth, the more rebellious the youth, because they have no fear in them. And so the stuff that, like, let's say you and I had to clear with ayahuasca and with the plant medicines and stuff like that, it's stuff they don't have to clear because we're clearing the old consciousness that was within us. So it's all connected in that way, where we are leading, but we're also not. It's more about us putting trust in the youth and saying, hey, you guys know what you're doing. You guys know what you know how to lead, because that's the paradigm that we're breaking, is that there's this hierarchy that my mom, my dad, or government or whatever, they know, and I don't know. But actually, the children know more than them. They see the future because they are coming in with more of that pure energy that is not conditioned and that is not, their consciousness is still kind of intact. And so this is, I think, how we are creating the shift, is saying, hey, we trust you. Hey, we believe in you, and allowing them to say their ideas and not saying, hey, that's wrong because that's not how I did it, or that's not how I was raised, or that's not how I saw it, or thinking about the past. And we are in Cancer season, going into Cancer season, and we just had a couple planets move into Cancer, which has to do with our ancestry, which has to do with the past, which has to do with children, which has to do with youth, literally today. And I think that that's what it is. I think that's the most important thing for us as people that are older, to instill in the youth, is belief and faith and trust. I think trust is the most important thing, that, hey, we trust you guys to take care of this great change that is happening, and to really embody it, embody the confidence, and really accept your incarnation and really accept your dharma, that you are here for a reason. You are here to be at your most expanded self.
Beautiful. And I really agree. I believe that trusting ourselves is the 100 most, like one of the most important things. And by us trusting ourselves, we get to then trust you both, and the next generation. So I love Meijing and Shaw, if you feel, to maybe at that point, like, I think it's a beautiful bridge into trusting what kind of questions and support you are wanting to ask Farah.
And I think just to touch on that, when we talk about indigenous wisdom, my DNA is Afghan, Indian, Iranian, Turkish, all of the things, and then some GMO Japanese in there and stuff like that. So I had some like funny things in there that were really interesting. Like DNA is funny. So touching on that, knowing that wisdom is in all our DNA. If we think about like the origins of humanity, we all come from Africa, right? So when you think about that, we are going more back into this like mystical culture. Like we are going more back into a mystical consciousness where there's not a lot of structure. There's a lot of intuition. There's a lot of faith. We aren't going to stop working from our minds. Like Richard Rudd, who created Jing talks about this. He says our evolution is going to go from the mind to the solar plexus. That we are solely going to be operating on intuition. That's going to be our evolution. And that's why you see everybody's diet changing. Everybody's caring about their food, their gut biome, because this has to do with what our evolution is, and tapping into like my ancestry and the shamanism. And shamanism is the religion of the earth. That's all it really is. And that is what we are all connected to. And that's what we are all returning to. It's not an overnight thing. That's the thing. It's not an overnight thing. But this is what I feel is going to get activated through this gathering.
Shad, do you want to share?
Yeah, I just felt like it's so interesting you're sharing all this, we're moving into a period of like the ancestry being activated and shamanism being more activated. Because I just personally had been like, and Eric, you actually asked us last night, like, where is your guys' ancestry from? And I had been diving more into like my own ancestry and my roots and trying to learn more about that. And so it's just so like synchronistic how it's all seeming to just, all this is coming together at one time for that one specific thing. It's so interesting. I just wanted to share that.
Questions that you would like to share?
Yeah, so a lot of what we've been seeing with the youth when we were in front of them and really wanting to guide them so they can really get through their true essence, right? What are they actually through their bodies, not their minds, like you're saying. And a lot of what we see is like they're very unclear and very uncertain because there's so much distractions, there's so much old conditioning from their parents, from generations. So they're kind of like just automatically just living these lives because they're just following what everybody else is doing. So how can one, I guess I get the question is for youth, if you had any advice for them, how would what youth or any even humans, because even regular humans are feeling very unclear, very uncertain about what they're doing, and they're seeking for truth. They're seeking for answers. And they don't know where to go. They don't really understand how to do it. And that's why we build these festivals, right? To create these spaces. But most importantly, like, oh, how is it that somebody can start taking steps to really understand, get more clarity in themselves? I love what you said about the ancient wisdom, because if we really start connecting deeper to where we're from, we really start understanding what is coming out from there, rather than the outside and every other distractions like social media that is happening. So yeah, I guess the question more than anything is how can somebody really seek their truth and find that clarity within them? In your opinion, because that's a very deep question.
You want to take it?
Eric?
Oh, go ahead, please.
Do
Please.
you want to take it, or I don't care.
No, you go ahead, please. I really prefer you. I really want you to.
Okay. Um, I think everyone is your teacher. And I think the most important lesson to teach anyone is to just be a mirror to them. And whenever somebody's asking you something, you just say, like, have you gone inwards about this? Have you sat with this? Have you gone and sat in nature about this? Have you gone deep into yourself? Because when people are looking for answers outside of themselves, right? It's a calling that they want that. They're almost co-creating. Their subconscious is co-creating, like, hey, I need someone to turn me back inwards. Okay. So if anything, the most important gift you can give someone is the tools on how they can go inwards, and or how they can be connected to source, or how they can be connected to their inner wisdom, you know, if that's indigenous wisdom, because that's all you're really doing. That's all we're all really doing, is we're just like, hey, go inwards with this, go inwards with this. And everybody's having their little shadows triggered and all of that. And they're like, no, 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 I don't want to go inwards. I don't want to go inwards. But we know that if you are somebody that's quote unquote conscious, right, which is thrown around everywhere, if you're a conscious person, if you're an aware person, if you're an awakened person, you're going to do the real-time alchemy. If you get triggered, you know that it's a message. It's a message for you to go inwards and to be like, where is this coming from? Or if you're getting if there's a synchronicity or a sign, you know that that is for you to go inwards. And I think that's what we've been doing, like since COVID happened. I think that was, it forced everybody to go inside, literally. And now everybody is starting to come out as their higher selves, right? Come out as their higher selves, as their best self, and showing up with presence. That's being conscious. So this thing with the distractions, the technology and everything, that's about that. People blame technology so much. And I'm like, you can only blame it so much. Like, what's your part? Where's your free will? Right? Like, I just watched a video about Jack Dorsey talking about how there should be on apps that you should be able to choose your algorithm. So why can't you choose your algorithm? Why can't you put the phone down? Why can't you choose to take a break from it? Why can't you have a healthy relationship with it? It's like being in a toxic relationship and blaming the other person. And you're just like, wait. This is on me. Like, how am I creating the balance of, I know I need this tool for my work or for my path or whatever, but then it's like, how am I finding the balance with coming back to myself and calling back my energy from the technology and being intentional when I'm on it and making time for personal connections, in-person connections, time with nature. This is our evolution, really, because that's not going away. The technology is not going away, but how we use it, how our consciousness is shifting, that's changing. That has to change, because it's done a lot of great things too. And people don't talk about that. Right? Like, we're on this podcast. It's going to get transmitted and people all over the world are going to hear it. How amazing is that? It's like when Steve Jobs announced the podcast, everyone lost their minds. They couldn't even believe it. They were like, oh my God, he took the word from iPod and then cast. You know, that was the way that he did it. That's a miracle itself, that this conversation is going to be heard by so many people. So how do we fall in love with the technology again? How do we look at it as this really amazing tool? And then how do we call in these companies that have created it with a different type of consciousness? Because it's transforming. So I guess my advice would be like, yeah, you're making these gatherings, in-person gatherings in nature. That would create a balance. And that would take the youth from distraction. And maybe just even having like some kind of protocol that you can give them, you know, like really simple stuff. You could say, like, do you have a timer on your phone? Because the phones have a timer of how much technology you, if you want to set a limit to your technology use, you can set it for 1 hour. It's things like that, because people just think, oh no, I'm just on TikTok for like 2 hours and it's TikTok's fault that I'm on this for 2 hours. It's like, when are you gonna take control? When are you gonna exercise your free will? I think that's the most important thing. Taking accountability and responsibility for your part in it.
This is beautiful. So I'm hearing a lot about, this energy transition, in terms of how we're starting to change the way our behaviors are being put into the world, not making it about just ourselves, but really utilizing the strength of our bodies and amplifying with the tool of our mind, but really coming from that place of grace and certainty from within ourselves. And I've actually really noticed this shift happen, working inside of the energy sector and discovering a lot of these older gentlemen really willing to listen, even in a way that they know they're older, they have 4 or 5 decades on me, and this uniqueness is like the same usefulness they're starting to listen to, they're starting to pay attention to. And so what I'm curious about, Shah, Beijing, is what do you see in where you're at in your experiences? How are old elders or older individuals, whether they're our age or older than us, really absorbing you both stepping into the beingness of action, of taking action and being willing to take action?
I feel like it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. A lot of people I feel like are really all about it and really want to support. Like my mom, she's like our number one fan. Honestly, like she's so all about helping us. It's really sweet and beautiful to see. But there's a lot of people who kind of just think we're crazy, at the same time.
That's a
So
good
I
sign.
think there's yeah.
It's a good sign you're on the right track, is when everyone thinks you're crazy and you can't do it. That means you're on the right track.
Yeah. Thank you, Farah. Yeah, and yeah, like Eric, you're you're supporting us, and we have so many people, beautiful people. Farah supporting. We have so many beautiful people supporting us. But yeah, I just wanted to share. There's both. The word that popped in was equilibrium. There's kind of both that's going on. So I don't know, Mijing, do you want to touch more on that at all?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. It's a mix of both, but it's interesting because we have been able to magnetize really beautiful humans, which is kind of like what I was just reflecting on as you guys were talking and giving all this beautiful wisdom, is how through this movement of really being selfless and wanting to leave this world better than we found it, we're starting to magnify conscious beings, and not only conscious beings that are like monks that meditate all day, because that's what a lot of people think when they think of consciousness or spirituality or looking within. The first thing they think about is, oh, you don't have money, you shave your head, all you do is meditate. But if you just sit around the table with the people that are actually making a change, like us, you start realizing that yes, we go internal, but this internal reflects externally, and that's the change that we really start seeing, right? Because of the internal change. So it's a balance. So it's really beautiful because the people that are supporting us behind the movement are very powerful humans that are conscious and are creating external projects, initiatives that are for the better of humanity. So it's not only sit down and look inward, but it's also the initiative, the action that we're taking and that we're all taking. And so, yeah, so the people that are supporting us understand that concept very well. The ones that don't are only seeing it in the more of like either the internal, like you guys are just, what is this? It's spirituality, I need money, this and that. They don't realize the balance between both. Or they think that we're crazy, like Shah saying, like, this is ridiculous. How can you just build this out of nowhere? And you guys, what do you guys know? And what tools do you have? And they don't really understand. They don't really see the expansiveness
Can
of.
I share a story with you that
Yes, please.
just kind of popped in my head? So I hate pitching. I think it's like a circus act. Pitching my soul's work. like a song and dance in tech. When I watch people pitching, I'm like, oh, you're performing. Like, can't do that. I got entered into a pitch competition 3 weeks after my ayahuasca session. And I could feel like the nervousness of everyone else. I could feel like the anxiety. I could feel the heaviness. And most importantly, I could feel the unworthiness of everyone who was in that competition, the energy of anxiety. I pitched and I threw up after because of what everybody else was feeling. We got called back and by the head of the venture capital firm to meet because of my pitch. And we go into the meeting. This is someone who's made like $11 billion companies. 11. We pitched ISN. It's almost as if the guy didn't even hear a word that we said. And he told us to do something with the company, like that. He told us to do something with our business strategy, and he just did not get it. He did not receive it at all because he was receiving it from another consciousness. And I got out of that meeting with my partner, and we both were really relieved. We just said, this guy doesn't have the eyes to see it. And the whole point of that is, and now people have the eyes to see it. Then they didn't have the eyes to see it. So this is the heaviness that comes with holding a vision, is that there's going to be a lot of eyes that can't see it. But then as it grounds and comes into this reality, it's going to magnetize more people. And you can't get discouraged. What you have to say is that actually this is confirming. This is confirming what I already know. And again, it's what I said earlier about our subconscious is co-creating these situations, right? That was completely co-created. The pitch competition, getting this meeting with this guy, because it was showing me that we were creating something against the grain that had never been done before in Silicon Valley. That someone who's up there in Silicon Valley is never going to get, because it's from a different consciousness. And so that's why you should never get discouraged by any rejection, or if somebody can't see it. They're just not designed to see it. But to know that there are people out there that will see it. And that's where your faith comes in. That's where your connection to source comes in. That's when your connection to nature comes in. That you are not alone in it, that you are constantly alchemizing and getting yourself into that space.
Thank you for sharing. I can feel that. The people that have been rejecting us started coming to my head, and I started really feeling how they've been in their mind the whole time, and they're not really feeling from their heart, or they're not aligned, like you said. They're not it's just not it's not the right fit for them for that specific reason. It's not them, it's not us, it's just not, it's not supposed to be aligned. It's okay.
A lot of people will project a lot of lack at you. And it's up to you if you want to take it in. This is the thing. How can someone tell you how it's done when it's never been done? That's what you have to tell yourself. Why? how can someone tell you how it's done when it's never been done? The people that are meant to guide you are just people telling you to trust your vision and to trust your intuition. They're not here to tell you what to do. It's the same thing with parenting. It's the same thing with business, working with people. It's all across the board. It goes back to that trust. People don't trust each other. They don't trust themselves. But if you trust yourself, you trust your vision, then people are going to respond to that. They're going to be like, oh, this person really believes in what they're doing. That's why I'm here with you guys. Eric knows that. I was like, these two really believe in what they're doing. I want to help. I want to contribute in some way.
Shaw, we didn't hear you. Did you say something?
I just said thank you. That's all I could say. Yeah.
And I find that, you know, action is everything. You know, it's everything. It's having the integrity, having the action so we can manifest. You know, it's funnily enough, you know, integrity, action, manifesting is like I am, you know, funnily enough, the first letters of those three words are I am. And I find that you both have been taking a lot of action, and action is love. You know, it really is. It's we hear a lot of people, and you know, I've come across a lot of people in the world that talk a lot. You know, they talk a lot about the wisdom and the greatness and the imagining, but like the great parts come from taking action, and people will see more than words will ever say, you know, and I believe that that's so uh fundamental in really paving a path that is and never been done before. It's like, okay, if you don't want to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take responsibility and I'm going to step into that. And I mean, that was a big part of our conversation 3 years ago about grounding is action. And really bringing what we're sitting here to life, because that devotion is the highest form of love, you know. And so what do you feel has been some of the road bumps through your journey, Farah, that through that action or even speaking to different leaders, or that maybe you can give some perspectives to the youth that through your experiences have helped you refine ways to move forward so that you can continue to empower your community, your beautiful community. You know, I know that you just had an amazing manifest series on, I don't know if it was called manifest, I'm sorry, but on my birthday actually, and your mom's
Oh,
birthday.
magnetic use. I don't personally use the word manifest
Yeah.
for my own reasons. I feel like manifesting is you're going outside of yourself to attain something. I feel like I have to manifest this, meaning like I don't have it, so I need it. Like I need to So magnetism is usually what I like to use, because when we're magnetic, it's coming from inside of. And so because I feel like the mind throws out, like we're very good manifestors, but is it what's right for us? It's more important for us to magnetize because it's coming from inside of us. And there's more of a space of trust there, because you trust what's meant for you is meant for you, right? And it's not like this chasing of something outside of yourself. And I think that
Is it
that's for everything in life.
is it possible that when we take action with integral velocity within ourselves, that the manifestation is what comes outside of us? So
Yeah.
the manifestation is still from an internal being, and like you say, the magnetism, it's manifested outside of you by
The
picking.
manifestation would be the outcome from the magnetism, I would feel,
I like
right?
that. I like that.
So your internal world dictates your outer world, like the magnetism creates the manifestation.
Beautiful. So do you feel like from magnetizing these types of experiences and then manifesting your external world, what actions, when you were taking them, what speed bumps do you feel were prevalent to something that, you know, that's coming, or youth that may be trying, or Meijing or Shaw that may be, you know, in the process? Do you feel like there's any tips or tricks that you can provide in ways that they can start to magnetize so they can manifest the community that they're destined to serve?
I feel like it's so, the answer is so simple. Like we are our own speed bump. Like it's us. It's us on the individual level. Like it is literally us that sabotages or again co-creates situations and is like, are you going to receive this? Are you going to receive this fully? Because if you're being magnetic, right? You're in the zone, you're being magnetic, and then the manifestation comes into your reality, and universe is like, okay, I believe you. And then you're like, oh, no, 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 like not right now, not this. No, thank you. I'm not ready for all of that. What does that mean? You got to go back inwards and you got to get your subconscious and your conscious mind right. So it all comes down to us. It really does. It's never like, oh, I'm looking for community. I need to find community. I need to do. It's more like we just need you to be good, like on the individual level. Focus on you. Because I think that a lot of people that, not, including myself in the past, I was like, oh, like I was in my savior complex so crazily in my savior complex. And
Me too.
yeah, I know but it's a collective wound. Savior complex is a collective wound. It's in everyone, and that's what we are healing from. And not to say save yourself, but it's like, okay, why don't you turn that need to save the world back at yourself and being like, okay, it's okay to pour into myself so I can serve the world better, because you're not serving the world better being a martyr and, you know, burning yourself out. And because hey, I'm telling you from personal experience, like how deeply ingrained that savior complex was in myself. And now it's like, my health is priority. These things are priority because I can't do anything conscious or great. I can't do any of that for the collective. That's the spiritual ego. Spiritual ego is like, oh, look at, I'm doing all of these things for my community. Oh, look at, I'm doing all of this stuff. Oh my God, God bless you. You know, you're actually perpetuating the martyr state that we are all in this collective trying to release ourselves from. So going into more of a mindset of like self-care. Again, we're in Cancer season coming up. This is all about self-care. It's all about your home, your body as a home. It's about your health and everything, because no one benefits from you being dysregulated and, you know, not rested. And I think that that's where people have a lot of trouble, is that their validation is from being a martyr and being a savior, and I got to pay the bills, so I got to put in the time, and I got to. This is a really deep wound that we are deconditioning from, you know, the father wound that has created corporate capitalism, America, colonialism, which is the wound of I am an inadequate provider. That is what has created all of this. And so I think your self-care is the number one thing, is making sure your mind is right, making sure your body is right, making sure your soul is right. Tick all the boxes, that your connections are healthy with the people that you love, that you're receiving as much as you're giving. I think this is where we have a lot of problems, because we're thinking as much as we give is how much this equates to how much validation that we get, right? So your inner work, and I've said it a lot of times with my posts and stuff, your inner work is collective work. Like, your inner work is important. That's saving the world, is when you are doing the inner work for yourself and raising your own vibration. That first is the most important. Then your path, and then you contributing to the collective liberation and raising of consciousness. That's second. But you, that's first. You have to think of the power of one person, right? Like, look at someone like Hitler. That's one person. And look at everything that happened. The power of one person, what they can do, whether their consciousness is there or not. So there's that. And then, you know, the thing that I tell, like, a lot of my clients who come in with this burnout, overworking mentality, feeling that they need to show up for everyone and do everything for everyone, is I said, the world, I said, you could leave this world and the world will go on. And that hits them very hard in this moment. It will go on without you. If you take a day off, the world's going to go on without you. But what are we doing? Our subconscious mind, our shadow, is creating chaos on the outside. No, 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 no. Look at all these things. Look at all these emails. Look at all these people wanting to see me and meet with me. People asking me for stuff and I'm not saying no. And, you know, all of that.
This was so needed. I feel like you were just tuning into exactly what I feel like both of us, or at least for me, I can say, deal with to some level. Like, it may not be an extreme level, but I mean, there is no, that happens, you know, there's maybe no such thing as level. So it definitely happens, you know. I've been enjoying this last week, like being able, well, parts of it, being back home, being able to allow myself to rest even for an hour or two, and not feeling like, oh, I'm being like, I'm not on my stuff, I'm not taking care of everything, like that hyper productive and franticness. So thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like we both needed that.
We all need it. It's a reminder for me. I'm sure it's a reminder for Eric too. He's just not saying it. Yeah. So
we always doing our best, and I think that's the most important thing, is every day there's a better way and more. But one thing that I definitely believe is, you know, is having compassion for myself. And, you know, I want to do so much all at once personally. And it's okay to just make sure that I'm looked after, you know, I'm happy, that I'm fed, that I'm fit, you know, that I read a lot. these things are fundamentally so important for me, and I chose to step into that fully and being okay with looking after myself, and that's been the fun part in such a great way. So Farah, I agree with you 100%. You know, we've got to take care of ourselves, and that's where the rest of it comes to life, and we magnetize and we make really beautiful things happen. So I really want to just be aware of all of our time, as I know we all have busy days and busy schedules. Farah, if there's anything or anyone that wants to get to find out more about how to connect with you, what is the best way to connect with you and find out more about ISN and what you're doing in the world?
Well, just go to my Instagram, at Farah M. Siddiq. That's probably the easiest way. Everything is under that umbrella. So thank you.
Thank you. And Jing and Shaw, for the Youth Leadership Festival that's coming up, if anybody wants to know more information that you guys will be holding, where can they find it? How can they find out more information so they can come and really pay attention to their Dharma and step into it fully?
Yes, absolutely. So also can find us on Instagram. We're going to be posting a lot on there about the festival, giving information in a very entertaining way. So rq.global is the handle, or simply just going straight to the website, which is rqglobal.org/youth festival.
Cool. And last question for all of you. Anyone can start. If you had 3 days left to live, what would you be doing?
I'd continue working toward the festival, just making sure it happened.
Me too. I would be doing what I'm doing. I don't know what else there would be to do. Yeah.
I'd probably spend time with the people that I love and do nothing.
Beautiful. Thank you all for your time. I'm very blessed and grateful. I appreciate all of you, and it's always a blessing.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for listening to The Resilient Minds. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please make sure to go comment and like and follow us on iTunes or Spotify, and please make sure that if you really love this, to share this episode, and make sure that you're inviting all your friends to like it as we continue to unfold what the beauty of our minds does. More importantly, how powerful our heart level of intelligence can be when we combine our heart and our brain together. And more importantly, make sure you take the time to take a look at what we're doing at Balanced Media Ventures and how we can actually really support you in doubling your impact, your income, and your influence, and how you can bring your life's greatest vision into your purpose and create it from that level of reality. Talk to you soon.